This is the Absa Cape Epic, the 19th edition of the world's premier mountain bike stage race. The untamed African mountain bike race. The race that measures all. In 2023, Africa's majesty beckons once more. 732 rider teams take on a 648-kilometer course with 15,475 meters of climbing. District roads, dual tracks and single tracks await, as do some of the Western Cape's most famous mountain bike traverses and variable weather conditions. Teams should expect the unexpected.
Epic is so unpredictable. You come with high hopes and you sort of constantly readjust, and you have to be adaptable and adjustable with regards to your strategy. So come motivated and just take it each day by each day.
I think this year there's quite a depth in the field, so I think it all depends on how lucky people can be, because one technical aspect can change a race completely.
We also know from the previous Cape Epics that a lot can happen during these 8 days.
And the Epic is long, so you might have a good start of Epic, but then you need to hold it for 8 days. Last year's race ended on the last stage, and the old GC got thrown on its head. So yeah, that's Epic. You just got to take it day by day and roll with it.
It's very competitive, and only coming Sunday we'll know who's going to stand on the top step.
Starting with a 27-kilometer prologue at Meerendal, the event then moves to Hermanus for 2 marathon days, before the first transition stage takes the race to Oak Valley in Elgin. There, a time trial stage awaits ahead of the Queen stage, which challenges teams to conquer the infamous Groenlandberg en route to Lawrenceford. Once in Lawrenceford, stage 6 boasts a route that never leaves the famous farm. The grand finale then traverses 2 mountain ranges on the trails to Val de Vie, in arguably the toughest stage 7 in years. For the first time since 2017, Meerendal Wine Estate hosted the Absa Cape Epic. A former grand finale venue, and in 2016 the host of both the prologue and the finish, the wine farm outside Durbanville is synonymous with mountain biking. It provides a portal into the vast Tygerberg Mountain Bike Club trail network too. On the estate itself, the single tracks are usually dry and dusty. Unseasonal early cold fronts in 2023 have not only delayed the grape harvest, but have also made the trails muddy in places. In 2022 there were exhilarations aplenty, and 2023 should deliver a similar feast of exciting racing. For the elite women in the CM.com competition, the 18th Absa Cape Epic allowed for 3 different stage winners, a South African challenge for the overall crown, and a 7th overall victory for specialised factory racing women. Sophia Gomez-Villafan and Hayley Batten held off Mariska Strauss and Candice Lill to win the general classification, while Robin de Groot called time on her racing career after partnering Pauline Ferrand-Prévot to 3 memorable stage wins. Gomez-Villafan and Lil returned this year with new partners. Kim Lecourt and Vera Lossa lining up too after a year's hiatus. The men's race last time out was one for the record books. Georg Egger and Lucas Baum overturned a 7-minute and 2-second deficit in the final 2 stages to wrestle the yellow Chivita jerseys from the shoulders of the Canyon Northwave team. Matt Beers and Chris Blevins, who had won the prologue, finished 3rd, while Hans Becking and Jose Diaz finished 4th. All 4 of these combinations are back for 2023, as is the 10-time cross-country world champion Nino Schurter.
Yeah, it's always difficult to predict the Cape Epic. It's a challenging race. It's over 8 days. You are racing as a team. And a lot of things can go wrong. But yeah, we are prepared for everything, and for sure we are looking for a top spot, and I think we're ready for everything, and hope the good luck is also on our side.
The opening stage of the 2023 race was a prologue time trial. Each team had to complete the 27-kilometer course with its 750 meters of climbing in the fastest possible time. For squads chasing category honours, a rapid time could earn them the leaders' jerseys. While for the amateur pairs, the Prologue would provide the seedings for Stage 1's start groups. Dorstberg and Stairway to Heaven provide the climbs, while Hooggekraal's superb single tracks are the opening Toyota Tough section of the event. The first team off the Absa Cape Epic start ramp was the Untamed Love Authentic combination of Remofilo Moketsi and Tabu Mambachele. They were followed by a string of nervous teams, starting their untamed journeys at 25-second intervals. With the biggest field in the nearly 2-decade history of the race, this year's Prologue is more important than ever. The race can, of course, not be won in Meerendal, but a good beginning will do wonders to settle the nerves. District roads, dual tracks and single tracks await, as do some of the Western Cape's most famous mountain bike traverses and variable weather conditions. Teams should expect the unexpected. A brutal climb and early trails meant that there was little time to settle in. The amateurs had to find their rhythm from the off. Cheered on by hundreds of fans, they were spurred into action. Though some undoubtedly discovered that they had not quite done the training they should have. For those, the week ahead loomed even larger with every pedal stroke than it had before they set out. Others were enjoying the Prologue experience, cranking their way up the Dorstberg, through the Fair Cape Loop and into the Toyota Tough Hooggekraal Trail. Stairway to Heaven provided the final climb. Then the teams dropped back into Meerendal. Single tracks were linked by dusty dual tracks, some through vineyards, others through fallow wheat fields. These provided opportunities to overtake. Hard work then would pay off the next day. Virtually every team started the time trial with the aim of making it into the fastest possible start batch for Stage 1. Moving up through the groups will become harder the longer the race wears on. Among the amateur starters were the Last Lions, the pride of Amabobesi finishers who have completed all 18 editions to date. After Craig Beech's withdrawal from the 2022 race, only Hannah Stain, Mike Nixon and John Gale remain in the pack. Their fortitude would once again serve as an example to those around them, because every individual will need to dig deep over the coming 7 days. The Prologue was simply the appetizer, the introduction for the challenges and exhilarations to come.
The Prologue is always important, but it's not the be-all and end-all. It's nice to have a good result here, but it's definitely one of those things, if you don't have a perfect day, it's fine to still turn it around.
I think time-wise it's actually not as important as many think, but I think the important thing is to get a good position, that you're mentally ready for the next days, because it's just a mental boost when you do well today.
At 27 minutes past 10, the first of the UCI women's teams, Dika Vivo Vita, rolled off the start ramp. They were followed by the rest of the field at 1 minute and 15-second intervals. Janice Venter and Sophie Johnson were well down on the day's standings, as were Garden Route Cycle Tours, RA Cycles, CSE, Best of Performance, Eco Pentest, Cannondale Vas Arabe and She Untamed. Tiffany Keep and Hayley Preen belied their early start and proved to be the early pace setters in the CM.com UCI women's race. The Valley Electrical team led the time checks at each point through the 27-kilometre route. Both riders were fresh off strong performances on the road the previous Sunday. Preen, a former champion trail runner, is best when the route points uphill, while her partner Keep is exceptionally technically adept. Together, their strengths should serve them well in this year's Absa Cape Epic, especially after a strong showing on the Prologue. The pair crossed the finish line in 1 hour 24 minutes and 56 seconds. This effort was good enough to propel the young South Africans into 5th place in the CM.com UCI women's race after the Prologue. Another team who outperformed their starting rank was the 8 Capital combination. The Slovakians Janka Keseg-Stevkova and Martina Krahulkova. The former was starting her 5th Absa Cape Epic, while Krahulkova was only racing the Untamed African mountain bike race for the 2nd time. The pair were also the only of the UCI women's teams who remained unchanged from the 2022 edition. Their experience, finishing 6th last time out, clearly stood them in good stead on the opening day of the 2023 race. Flying somewhat under the radar, the 8 Capital team clocked the 4th fastest time of the day of 1 hour 24 minutes and 32 seconds. The top 3 UCI women's teams were very evenly matched. Candice Lill and Amy Wakefield may have teamed up at the last minute in the week before the race, but the E4.net Seattle Coffee Co team have experience racing together. They paired up in 2018, winning the inaugural Absa African jerseys. In 2023, they started like women on a mission. Through the first time check, they were 7 seconds off the pace set by their rivals for the red Chivita jerseys. But by the halfway point in the stage, they were setting the time to beat. The second half of the stage did not prove as successful, as Lil needed to provide her partner with the odd push on the climbs, before the diminutive Wakefield slipped out on a berm. Fortunately for the 2022 South African Marathon champion, she did not go down too hard. She was able to dust herself off and complete the stage. The fall did, however, cost the E4.net Seattle Coffee Co team, and they were left wondering if the seconds they lost might have cost them the orange CM.com leaders' jerseys. The first team to benefit from Wakefield's crash was the efficient Infinity Insure squad. Kim Lecourt and Vera Lossa vied with the E4.net Seattle Coffee Co and the stage winners to set the fastest time throughout the Prologue's time checks. Both Lecourt and Lossa had raced on the road the weekend before, with the Mauritian outsprinting the Namibian to win her fourth Cape Town Cycle Tour title. They are clearly very evenly matched though, and share an aggressive riding style. This will undoubtedly serve them well for the week to come, as will the confidence they gain by finishing second on the Prologue, stopping the clock in 1 hour, 19 minutes and 4 seconds. This was just 7 seconds slower than the pace setters. Sophia Gomez-Villafan and Katerina Nash got their Absa Cape Epic campaign off to the best possible start. The Argentine defending champion, who had won the race alongside Hayley Batten in 2022, had the evergreen Czech Olympian alongside her on the Meerendal start ramp. The 91 Songo Specialized pair started steadily, but gradually ratcheted up the pace as the stage progressed. On the Toyota Tough section, through the berms and switchbacks of the Hoogekral Trail, the pre-race favourites moved into top gear. From there, they topped the time splits all the way back to the finish line, eventually stopping the clock in an impressive 1 hour, 18 minutes and 57 seconds. There is, however, very little separating the top three UCI women's teams, which augurs well for the battle to come. With first blood drawn, Gomez-Villafan and Nash will start stage one with the orange CM.com leaders jerseys on their shoulders. Following the prologue, the CM.com UCI women's standing sees 91 Songo Specialized lead by just 7 seconds over efficient Infinity Insure E4.net Seattle Coffee Co. are 30 seconds back.
I think it's not necessarily confidence, but it's a little bit of relief because you don't have to be on the offense. You can play the race a little bit in the defense. But yeah, winning the stage, getting that started. Last year Haley and I were fourth, not even on the podium. And once again, we're racing for the Songo Foundation and raising funds for that organization, and we're donating our daily prize money to the foundation. So today we put 5,000 Rand into improving the lives of all these kids through the foundation. And yeah, I think that kind of gives us a little bit of motivation at each stage to make sure we get the best performance possible.
I think second is good for us. Yeah. I think it was quite tight in the first teams. It's the first day, it's a short day, it's lots of different stages coming up. Today was an hour 20, the next day will be 5 hours plus. So yeah, we'll be in for one hell of a week.
In the UCI men's race, the earliest teams off the start ramp were merely setting the scene for the big guns who started in the final half an hour.
Yeah, today obviously you don't want to lose the whole race, but you also want to keep it really tight. It's a hard prologue, so we need to manage our efforts super well. Keep a little bit in the tank for the end, and then yeah, we have some big days after this.
It's a really good test already, but it's I would say that it's important, but just we have to be safe here and not have a flat tire or a crash. So, but it's already a good test to see how is the shape for the next week.
We're right before the start, just 5 minutes ago. We try to stay rubber side down, like the guys say here. So don't crash, just stay safe and yeah, put a good pressure on the pedal and try to finish in the front of the field. Yeah, the atmosphere is crazy right now. The Cape Epic is the biggest mountain bike race there is, and you can really feel it in the media attention, and the spectators are going nuts. So we're super hyped right now, and we can't wait to finally push the pedals down.
The 2023 Absa Cape Epic not only features the biggest ever field, but also the biggest ever UCI men's field. 58 teams started the race in contention for the yellow Chiavita jerseys. But the Prologue whittled the battle down to a handful of serious contenders. Among the pre-race favourites who have it all to do after a slower than ideal start are the Bulls heroes. The 2016 winner Urs Huber and Simon Schneller conceded 3 minutes and 18 seconds. BH Colombo also highly touted before the race, but now find themselves in 11th after the first stage. Baf Megamo 1 and 2 are better off in 8th and 10th respectively. Splitting them is the road superstar turned mountain biker Vincenzo Nibali. The 5-time Grand Tour winner is racing alongside fellow Italian Samuele Porro. Canyon Northwave support team Peter Vakoc and Mark Stutzman showed that they could have a vital role to play this week by finishing 7th on the Prologue. While Paiga Eurosteel's Philip Bass and Alex Miller were the best placed Absa African team in 6th. The South African and his Namibian teammate are just under 2 minutes off the pace. Their nearest rivals for the red Chiavita jerseys, Imbuko Type F Giant, were 50 seconds off the Paiga Eurosteel team's pace. But Peter de Toy and Marco Joubert are just 19 seconds ahead of Insect Science MTB in 3rd in the category. The 5th best team on the Prologue were the 2022 7th placed overall finishers Fabian Rabensteiner and Wout Allemann. Racing for Willia Pirelli factory, the Italian and Belgian were consistently 5th fastest through each of the time checks. The pair have in the past shown that they are more than capable of winning stages, so their steady start will not concern them too much. A safe and effective time trial effort without shipping too much time would have been their pre-race plan for the day. With longer stages to come, the reigning European marathon champion and his former Belgian marathon champion partner will almost certainly grow into the race. Their time for the 27-kilometre Prologue was 1 hour, 4 minutes and 43 seconds. 39 seconds better off and 4th on the opening day were another team of marathon specialists. A year ago, Canyon Northwave MTB had worn the yellow Chiavita jerseys from stage 1 until Speed Company Racing seized them on the final stage. In 2023, Andreas Seewald and Martin Stosek again started with damage limitation in mind. Up against the firepower of the day's top 3, they were content to race smart. In fact, the bulk of the time they conceded to the fastest teams was lost in the first half of the course. After 14 kilometres, they were 55 seconds down. Seewald and Stosek then held that gap into the final 2 kilometres when they shipped a further 6 seconds to the stage winners. Stopping the clock in 1 hour, 4 minutes and 4 seconds sets Canyon Northwave up to go on the offensive on stage 1. The men who upset Seewald and Stosek in 2022 were 3rd fastest on the opening stage this time around. Orbea Liet Speed Company, like Canyon Northwave MTB, conceded time on the ascent of the Dorsberg. But Georg Egger and Lucas Baum showed their fighting spirit, battling back from 40 seconds down after 14 kilometres to just 26 seconds down after 20 kilometres. That effort might well have cost the Germans, however, as they lost time once again on the climbs in the latter stages of the course. The defending champions eventually conceded 45 seconds to the day's victors. Egger and Baum crossed the line in 1 hour, 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Perhaps their effort was perfectly judged, as they will head for Hermanus without the weight of the yellow jerseys on their shoulders. Scots Ram MTB Racing likewise will be starting stage 1 with time to make up, though Nino Schurter and André Frischnecht certainly went all in for stage victory. The 10-time cross-country world champion and his fellow countrymen entered in a seesaw battle for the race lead, swapping out with the day's victors to post the fastest time at the time checks. After the disappointment of a puncture-filled race in 2022, Schurter is highly motivated to add a 3rd Absa Cape Epic title to his glittering palmares this time out. How Frischnecht manages his efforts while matching Schurter will likely determine how well Scottram MTB can do over the course of the 8 days. That said, it was a top-class start for the pair. Their time of 1 hour, 3 minutes and 9 seconds was just 7 seconds slower than that of the stage winners. Toyota Specialized 91 won the day and claimed the first Chiavita yellow jerseys of the 2023 Absa Cape Epic. As they had done in 2022, Matt Beers and Chris Blevins blitzed the Prologue route. Rolling off the start ramp 10th from last, they had only the timer Paga Eurosteel to chase. So the South African marathon champion and his American teammate simply went all in right from the off. They did, however, not manage to better Scott Schramm MTB at every time check. But at the end of the stage, they crossed the line with the fastest time. That is what matters most. Though Beers and Blevins now have targets on their backs, they prefer to lead from the front. It will surely not stop them from taking the race to their rivals in the days to come. And the general classification is finely poised. With 661 kilometers still to race, the men on the podium were separated by just 45 seconds. Matt Beers and Chris Blevins' time was 1 hour, 3 minutes and 1 second. Nino Schurter and André Frischnecht were second, with Georg Gega and Lucas Baum third. Philip Bass and Alex Miller were the leading Absa African jersey contenders in sixth.
Yeah, it definitely, gives us confidence, but if you didn't have that coming in, then it's going to be a long race. So I think we have just as much confidence as if we had a bad day, and it's a long, long race. So we're not getting too high with this yellow jersey on our shoulders and racing for 7 more days just as hard.
With the battle lines drawn and the scene set, the race moves from Meerendal outside Durbanville to Hermanus on the Overberg coast. Stage 1 brings the 2023 Absa Cape Epic's first marathon day. The Hevelanada Valley, with its sweeping single tracks, sapping climbs and scenic vistas, provides a 98-kilometer test with 2,550 meters of climbing. On the 2 previous visits to Hermanus, the opening marathon stage was particularly arduous. It'll be one of the toughest days of the race. Stage 1 always is.